Welcome to the Alaskan Journey podcast. My name is Jamin. I'm your first friend in Alaska, and the purpose of this podcast is to answer the questions what it's like living in Alaska from the perspective of people who do actually live here. And today, we're very lucky to be joined by Tim. He's going to be talking about what it's like living in Kasilof, Alaska, which is kind of a smaller little community. And we're going to be talking about the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. He's got quite a few adventures along the way, so looking forward to getting into this. But Tim, thank you very much for joining us.
Good to be here.
Absolutely. So let's, Kasilof. What got you to move to Kasilof, Alaska? I think you're the first person on this channel I've ever had from Kasilof. So what's the story there?
Yeah. Well, the story is has a few twists and turns in it, but it started a year ago in August. We were here, me and a friend of mine, doing a road trip. We've always wanted to see Alaska. Didn't really have an intention of being here this time the following year or whatever, but we toured the state. We flew over, toured the state, 2,900 miles, and the way we got connected here was we just Airbnb'd the whole time we were here. Like, we went to this town, that town. In the evening, we stopped, Airbnb, booked it, and we were in Homer, started our way back, and we wanted to have water views for the last night here, like some bougie Airbnb. And we stayed at our Airbnb, and we were looking on real estate online and stuff. So we went out to find this one place, and we couldn't find this for the life of us. And we drove around 2 to 3 hours, saw a bunch of moose, this and that and the other, and finally, ready to give up, we found a place on the dead-end road. Not the place we're in now, but it kind of got us started, in the real estate looking thing. It really got us why couldn't we find this? Anyways, so we just randomly came across this sign hanging out by the road, Googled it, and of course, of all the things, it didn't want to pop up. So that isn't supposed to be like that in today's world. So we contacted the Realtor, and she Googled it too, and it didn't want to pop up either. And she calls us back and says, hey, it's in the middle of a contract. So, long story short, we live back in the lower 48. We're that's fine. We're just curious.
Yeah.
And, but she kept our number and called us back the following week and said the buyer backed out. So that's it went from there as far as that goes. And it took a while, but we closed on that. And, yeah.
So what condition was said property in, and what made you decide to pursue it anyway?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Most people kind of look at us a little bit funny right now, or did back then. The property sits on a bluff, and the general house needs to be moved because the bluff is eroding. And both of us are self-employed or in the construction trade. My friend has 10 guys working for him. So we felt it'd be interesting to tackle this thing. The house needs to be moved back, and obviously there's a lot more that goes with that. What can we do with the bank? Can we do anything long term? What's it going to be like? For us, there's a nice 3-bay garage on it. And of course, guys love garages. Mm-hmm. And so that got our attention right away. So I feel like it wasn't for the nice garage with the bougie wash bay and everything in it, we probably wouldn't have been so interested in it. But I think the aspect of the mystery of the property and what we can do with it, there's 2 more cabins on it, and there's a 3-bay garage with a bathroom in it. So there's possibilities, if you want to sit down and talk about it. there's a lot of ways this could go backwards too.
Yeah, most people I've talked to, they usually don't, they usually don't term the mystery around that stuff as really a positive.
Yeah, exactly. We kind of came across that. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Okay, now you guys driven nearly 3,000 miles at this point. You've seen a lot of Alaska. Can you remember what it was about this specific area that made you kind of dial in and, think this area?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Back home, anything with or I should say back in the lower 48 rather, if you have anything with water views, you're paying crazy money to even be able to buy the property. It doesn't matter if it's land, just bare land or not. And that was our big thing. It's like you can see Mount Redoubt from there and all the mountains. It's incredible. That's what really pulled us into it. And the value that is on the property with the garage and the house and the new cabin, old cabin. There's just there's a lot of possibilities there. There's a lot of unknowns at this point, but we feel we want to make the best of it from what we can.
Right.
So, yeah.
Have you guys had a chance to get out and experience much of the lifestyle of living up here in Alaska so far, or have you guys just been so dialed in on the small project of just moving a house back off the bluff that you haven't been able to do much else?
Yeah, no. So we drove a buddy of mine and I drove up. Got here Labor Day, which is September 1st, and we've been here for a little bit, and we haven't touched it at all. There's two of us involved in the property, but this is not the one that's involved in the property. So we've been basically focused on work, getting work lined up, just kind of, getting a steady job for now. And then there's going to be a process of moving the house. So that's not like making chicken on the air fryer or anything like that. Yeah. It's going to take a minute.
Yeah.
So we've been focused on finding jobs, finding work. It's been going very well, actually. Very good.
Yeah. What's it like trying to find work down on the Kenai Peninsula when you've got, kind of the trades background and, all that kind of going for you?
Connection helps a lot. Who you know helps a lot. I would say we're doing pretty good. We knew a guy off the bat coming here, and he bought this big house beside the lake, and fortunately there was a lot of work there. And he was like, "Yeah, we got work for you right now," and so that was great. Then we met a couple guys at church that were like, "Hey, we got stuff. What do you do?" And they're like, "Yeah, we got stuff that you could do here shortly." So that was great. Just a lot. I feel like getting out there and meeting people is a big part of being able to, get the work we need, I guess.
Yep, absolutely. Now, is there kind of a seasonal? I mean, I know there's definitely kind of a bit of a seasonal aspect of it, just off the top of my head with, working in the trades up here just because of all the snow and everything that, winter.
Yeah.
But, is there still enough stuff inside to where you can still stay busy about year round, or, what's that like as far as the working in the trades up here? Is it something where you have to budget to have X amount all socked away during certain months?
That's a good question.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So, being that we're up here new, we pretty much do exterior work. That's what we like. That's what we do is exterior work. Do we do interior work? We can. It's not like if we have an option, we don't.
Yeah.
This winter we'll probably get into some just to fill in. I feel like from last winter they were saying it was a mild winter, and if this winter's the same, I feel like we'll be busy outside, and that could change. I mean, I realize that. So
yeah, I mean, you know, I feel like there's going to be a price to pay for the last winter. So
there is, there is.
Yeah. Okay. So been up here for a minute and kind of going around and figuring everything out there. How long did you go from? Yeah. I'm trying to think through here. No, that was actually a really short process for you going from thinking of Alaska to boots on the ground.
Yep.
Like,
yeah, it was quick. Yeah.
So that really didn't take any amount of time. How did you get all your stuff up here? Did you take the Alcan, fly? What was your mode of transportation to get up here?
Yeah. So I still have my place back in the lower 48, and a lot of my stuff is still there. I don't have a ton of stuff, but that's where quite a bit of stuff is. What I brought up was my 1-ton truck and a 18-foot enclosed trailer. And we also had a truck camper on the bed of the truck, which was great. And so we were loaded down pretty good. Most of that stuff included, bare essentials, what we need to live, obviously. Like the cabin is equipped with all the stuff you really need as far as, I'm talking about the stove and this and that, refrigerators. So really, most of our stuff was tools for work. So I knew this was going to be a serious thing about work. Like we gotta kind of get that in the groove of working and finding work. And one of the big things about work is if you don't have the tools, people are like, did you really do this before? So that was a big mark I wanted to make. And we had a 6-wheeler that we brought up. And that's about the biggest thing we had. So, yeah. We left the lower 48, came up through North Portal, North Dakota is where we crossed. And, everybody talks about border crossing, seems to be a hot topic. I can say we've had no issue whatsoever. I know that some people are going to say what, but I was surprised. Like a big trailer full of stuff. He just asked questions. And the funny part was he asked us what we're doing in Alaska. In Canada, they did. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to my property. And usually you say enough to then they go to another subject. And he was like, well, what are you doing at the property? And I was like, well, we're working on the house. And he goes, what are you doing on the house? And I said, well, we have to move the house. And I have never seen a serious guy change expression so fast. It went from curious to worried to interested in 3 seconds. So anyways, I thought that was kind of cool. So
I'm sure he's talking about that with all his buddies for the rest of the day.
That was an interesting conversation, actually. So yeah, and then we came up through the Alcan there. Having a trailer on the Alcan, man, that's brutal. Oh.
Yeah, I love the speed limits where they're 55, and it's no one's going 55.
Yeah.
With a trailer on this road.
No. Well, I kind of missed the good part on that one. We went through the Rockies there. I've never been to the Rockies before, and that was so worth the drive. Summit Lake is probably the coolest area I've seen so far on the whole trip, for that trip.
Yeah.
And if I was to stay anywhere for a while, it'd be there in that spot. The thing about the truck camper was we built it before we came here, and we just stay wherever we wanted to along the road. So that was nice. We get to stay where we want. And we came up through Summit Lake, the Rockies. A lot of nice scenery there.
Yeah. What time of year was it when you guys made the drive on the Alcan?
So we got here October 1st, or September 1st.
Okay.
September 1st we got here, and we left. It took us exactly a week to come. So end of August, is when we left New York. So, yep.
Got it. Oh, no. Yeah, that's, I mean, to me, that's kind of a preferable time of year to be making the drive because you don't have all the tourist traffic you're fighting with, but also it's not icy and, winter and all that. It doesn't look like a scene from The Revenant. So, it's hard to say no to that.
It was nicer than expected. I'll say that. I was watching the Facebook page that has like all the info on what's going on, the forest fires and the highway and snow and stuff like that. I've heard other people on the podcast talk about that, so that was helpful.
Absolutely. Do you have any tips, tricks for anyone who's making the Alcan? Well, let's specify even a little bit more. Let's say driving the Alcan, but then also bringing a lot of stuff with them. Like what tips, tricks would you offer for them? Because it sounds to me like you guys kind of just glided right through. So,
yeah, definitely you want to give yourself time to drive. Having the trailer, I think we had around 14,000 pounds total what we weighed. And, I had ladders on top of my trailer, walk planks and stuff. And you want to, it's purdy enough. You want to allow yourself enough time to drive that. But also at the end of the Alcan, towards the end of the Alcan where you hit the Alaska border, that is brutal. I mean, I've only heard of people talking about it, and I look at pictures and I'm like, that's not that bad. Until you get on the road where you have where you can only tell because of the color of the pavement that there's going to be a bump there. Literally, you can't see them until you're right there. And there's 3 in a row, and you'll ditch your truck if you don't watch yourself. And about average 40, 45 mile an hour speed. Other than that, you're blowing tires out. We didn't blow any tires out, thankfully. That's the biggest thing for us. Yeah.
Yeah, I speaking as someone who's made the drive, I think like 3 or 4 times and blew a tire just about every single time. Yeah, slow the heck down.
Yeah. And especially with stuff back there, if you don't have it tied down, it will move all over the place. I had one of my friends here tell me that he said anybody that drives the Alcan with a fully loaded trailer is not right up in their head. And then he laughs a little bit and he says, on second thought, I did it 3 times. So.
Yeah, it's so true though. So got here around that September time frame and, did all of that. So what was it like kind of getting settled into the Kasilof, Kenai area? Is that, how welcoming is the community? I don't know. Is there much of a sense of a community out there? I've not really been to Kasilof very much, so, you tell me.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I'll have a short story. I sold my 6-wheeler when I got here. I had it advertised before I left. And I sold it when I got here, and the guy shows up, and we literally talked about the 6-wheeler for 3 minutes. That's it. And one of the first things he says, I see you have 4 chimneys here. He's like, I have a big pile of wood over there. If you burn wood, you're more than welcome to come over here, and I'll let you use my dump trailer and bring it over here, and you guys can have wood. And that just kind of blew me away right off the bat. We hadn't even talked business or nothing. So that was cool. But as far as outgoing people, it's different here. You go in the store. I was in the store in Sportsman's Warehouse, I guess it was, and just randomly started talking with a guy about hunting, and we got into all kinds of other stuff. I think people around here do more they do more than just phone socializing for the most part. Some of them still do. I do too much of it. Still do. But I feel like the balance is a lot better than the lower 48. They invited us to come to their church actually that following Sunday. They were like, hey, do you go to church? I was like, yeah. And they were like, we're having halibut for for lunch at church. You guys are welcome to come. I said, well, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, I'm not going to turn that down.
Yeah.
So overall, like what's kind of the lifestyle of people over in Kasilof? Like, is it, I know it's not metropolitan.
Yeah.
Would you say it's more or less kind of like a slow off-grid kind of a vibe? Like how would you describe it?
Oh boy, that's a good question. I haven't met enough, I guess, working class people during the week to know, like, I'd say the hours are definitely shorter that they work, but it sounds like there's a lot of people that work on the slopes or on the oil rigs, and they're going for maybe a week, come back a week, something like that. I hear a lot of that. Other than that, it's a quite a bit slower paced, to answer that question. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you're coming from state of New York. I'm going to make the classic mistake of assuming just from the state of New York, so it means you have to have lived in New York. So I'm going to assume that's that. So
I have.
Oh, you've actually lived in New York.
I have. So I live 2 miles from the Pennsylvania line.
Oh, okay.
So I live where most people would go for deer hunting from the cities, would come down or come up from like Philly or come down from like Buffalo, and they have their deer hunting camps there. And the county I lived in New York is one of the least populated counties in New York. So literally coming here is a lot of the same as it is there. Like grocery stores, I had 3 Walmarts that all of them were exactly 40 minutes from my house. Versus here I have Soldotna, which is 36 minutes to, whatever you want. So not bad at all.
So you're like right there in the bleeding heart of civilization now. Like you're just getting so close.
Yeah, that's right.
Man, well, that's awesome. So tell me real quick, how did you adjust to like the seasonal changes up here in Alaska? Like if you're coming from kind of the latitude of, Pennsylvania, New York, I'm assuming it's not a completely different, but we definitely do have some pretty dramatic seasonal differences here. So what was that adjustment like for you?
So I flew home for a wedding in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I was here for literally a week and a half, and I flew home. And I get there, and it's like 80 degrees. And, man, at the time, I was like, between the traveling and all that, it kind of wears you out. And I was like, man, let's just get this over with. Let's either stay here or go back. Because, like, the weather's great, but I know it's not 80 degrees back there and stuff. But, I think it's a mind thing. A lot of it is. And I've adjusted well to it. You got the rainy days, and then you got the days like today. It's just gorgeous outside. You can see the mountains. It's clear. It's way out. The sun's on the leaves. The leaves are, yellow, and the sun just does something to everything it hits, and you can't beat it. I mean, I haven't seen anything yet back in the lower 48 like it. You just really can't put it in a picture, really. I've tried. I can't. So that's about what I got to say. I was here in the winter, too, when we closed in January, February. So there was snow on the ground. I got a little taste of it. However, we were wanting to go do a snowmobile up on a glacier for my birthday and stuff, and there wasn't enough snow to do that down where we're from. So that was a bummer, but maybe this year, who knows?
Yeah. Okay, so the glacier there, if you go to like Valdez, that is like, I think the average is about 218 inches of snow every year. So if you're looking for an almost for dang sure chances there's going to be snow, like Valdez is going to be up. But that's obviously a long ways for y'all from Kasilof. So,
yep. And that's something on my list yet, so for sure.
Yeah, what else do you have on your list at this point? I mean, once the house is all done, once Tim's like in just kid on the playground, nothing more to do with the house, like what else is on the bucket list?
So I feel like my bucket list for the longest time was the only thing that was in the bucket was Alaska. Like literally, I didn't do a lot of like vacationing, say. And so like my big thing was I want to go see Alaska because I know I'm going to love it. And so now I've seen it. I'm here. What do I do? Oh my word. Like this year we're focusing on like getting work started. Next year's when the hunting's going to start. And that bucket list is pretty big.
Yeah.
Like caribou, moose. My buddy got into duck hunting. He loves it. Big into hunting. As far as snowboarding, not really my thing. Just never have. But yeah, there's a lot to do, and you got to be here during the winter to understand the other kind of just beautiful views that are around, I guess. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, because you get to a certain point, I guess right about now, September, October, you kind of forget what the whole area looks like with snow, and then, it just dumps, and then it's a completely different environment again altogether.
Yeah. I've been amazed at, like, when the sun comes up in the morning, the little bit of snow that's on the mountains just makes the mountains pop like crazy across the water from us. And then the sun hits them, and the top of the mountain starts to get pink, and then it turns into, white when the sun comes up.
Yeah.
And then that reflects off the water as well. And the sky reflects that too. And it's just great. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So do you remember like let's do this. Do you remember your first earthquake up here yet? Or have you had like one that's big enough for you to actually remember it yet?
No, I haven't. I will be honest with you. That's one thing that I have friends that are like, I can't wait till the first, till I feel it, the first time, the earthquake. And I'm like, no, we don't need that right now. Not until the house is moved back.
You're just sweating bullets out there every day.
Yep. So, no, I'm sure it will happen, which I hear it from the people back home every time it does. They're like, hey, I heard there's an earthquake in Alaska. And so I have to Google it every time to see where it was. But no, that's pretty much my view right now of earthquakes.
It's like, yeah, that's actually pretty high stakes for you. I hadn't thought about that. But so what would you say your expectations were of Alaska before you got here?
You hear so many stories and you don't know what to expect. I'd say it's not as far back in time as I thought it might be. Like, especially where I lived, I'd say we're pretty close to about the same technology phase. We're a little behind where I lived at as far as the town. You didn't have, it took, you order something off of Amazon, it usually took a day more than what they said it did to get there, which around here, I don't know how that works. But as far as the remoteness of everything, it was kind of like I expected it to be, but I can't really explain it. It's just different than what you think it will be, really. I try and tell people that you got to go. You don't know unless you go.
Yeah.
I guess. So.
Yeah, and that's really that's really the reason that I always encourage people, hey, go stay in those Airbnb, like do exactly what you guys were doing, like stay in the Airbnbs, like get a sense for the area, actually drive around, because, I can talk about Eagle River, Anchorage, Wasilla, Palmer, Sutton, like all these places, Big Lake, Houston, blah, blah, blah. We can talk about any of these towns all day long, but until somebody actually puts boots in the ground and walks around, they're not going to know, oh, this place is awesome, or, oh, this place really sucks.
Yeah.
Like, they're just not going to know.
Yeah. I mean, Eagle River here is like, oh, man, it's like a bougie part of Anchorage. Like, you guys got everything here. Man, if I wanted to upscale living, this is where I'd go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you're actually trying to find, like, the most upscale part of like the entire state.
Yeah,
Like
where is it?
It is the south side of Anchorage and kind of the hillside area.
Okay.
That's where you're going to see like the largest properties with, you know, that almost look pretty brand new, and they're going to have great views of the inlet and everything. So that's really nice. The place with the most expensive real estate, bar none, is going to be Girdwood.
Okay, I've seen the sign.
Yeah, like you would not think that just driving around because, you know, they're pretty small properties, you know, little, you know, nothing really to brag about, like log cabin and all that. But what you don't know is that log cabin is probably close to about $800,000.
Really?
Yeah, because it's in Girdwood, it's a resort town. There's never not a demand for real estate there. It's a super small market. I mean, I did a video on this not too long ago. The average price per square foot for, let me see, average price per square foot for the sold price for the hillside, I think was about $360. It's about $600 per square foot.
Wow.
Over in Girdwood. So
wow. What pulls people to that? Like, it's probably the views, but like, is there something else there, like work or the views? Probably.
I mean, it is all just the resort area.
Okay.
Because you got Alyeska right there, and it, you know, Girdwood's already beautiful. So the summertime, you're going to have a lot of demand for people to be there. And then during the wintertime, because of the Alyeska resort, like you're going to have as or more demand during the wintertime. And so it's just a seasonally in demand area, and it's just not much real estate. So
yeah. Obviously, you can tell I haven't been to Girdwood yet.
Yeah, it's honestly, I go there, and you know, the expressions you get from people is like, they're like, okay, we're not going to tell you have to go, but you know, we can tell you're not from here.
Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. What, I'm curious, off the wall question. I'm sure there's people that like would like to know. If you're do like construction over there, what do those guys make an hour?
Oh, over in Girdwood?
Yeah.
Oh God, man.
Just a guess. Like,
just a guess.
Put it out there. I'm sure you have closer than I guess closer than I do.
Oh man. I mean, going off I'd say whatever you would normally make somewhere else, maybe like a third or double that.
Wow.
More, possibly, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We'll say 30% to 50% or 100% more, you know, than what you would anywhere else. And I could be completely off on that. But the thing is that just because of the area, like people know they can charge more, and the cost for getting stuff there is not really too much higher than what you're going to have in most other parts of Anchorage, because Girdwood is still technically part of Anchorage, and it's still connected to the road system and all that. So it's not like you're trying to airdrop a bunch of supplies into Bethel or something like that. Like, it's still on the road system.
Yep.
But I mean, you know, I'd say your margin's probably doing pretty good in the Girdwood area. I couldn't say for sure though.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk relocating the house then. And we could do an entire video just on this. I'm call it professional curiosity. How does one relocate a house from the bluff to, like, how far back do you guys have to move this thing?
Yeah, so we have 120 feet to the road.
Okay.
So there's a few different ways we've talked about doing it. We had a guy out to look at it and talk about it. It's a process, obviously. First, you got to jack the house up to get like beams underneath or whatever you're going to do with it to support it while you move it. So you got to do that. And how far back? We're moving it at least 60 feet. At least 60 feet. Because we have the garage is like 20 feet from the house. The garage is 50 feet wide. And yeah, we're going well over. So it'd be more like 90 feet or so is about what we'd do.
Did the original people who built it, did they build it like already too close to the edge and it just eroded? No. Okay.
No,
it was probably a safe distance. It just eroded that quickly.
Yep, that's right. Over time, you have the heavy, the high tides with heavy winds. They call it storms, obviously, come in there, hit that bank real hard. And also, earthquakes happen and stuff like that, and that doesn't help it. You need a certain amount of slope on your slope, like down to the water. Once you have grass growing on it, the tendency, I'm not saying it won't, but the tendency of eroding is less, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so there's parts down the bank from us a little ways that were eroding that have grass now. And so that's good to know. Will it keep eroding? I think it will, but that's another issue we want to tackle to see what we can do to kind of keep that water from hitting the actual bank. And that'll be like after the house is moved. For now, we want to move the house. The house is on a basement, is on a ICF basement, which is a poured wall concrete basement.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah. What does that look like? Do you have to like lift that entire basement section, move it back? Like that sounds like an impossibility. I could be wrong, but what does that look like?
Yeah, no, we are not. That's like built into the ground because you have a concrete floor in that. And what we're hoping to do is like move the house back and then keep that section of concrete there, the basement section, and put we're gonna do some testing on. We have an idea of what we want to do down by the water to kind of deter the water or make so the water can't hit the bank so much.
Right.
And so we want to address that first, but something else we want to do with the basement that exists is like fill it and then make it like a hangout. Like, you can have your fire pit there, you can have your pavilion on it or whatever. That's probably what we're going to end up doing with that spot as of now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some good options there. Maybe if you can just like build a stair down there so it feels more like just a porch looking out over the bluff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I see the vision here. Okay.
There's like, you could go crazy with it. Like, I feel like just moving the house in itself, to us, it's like, the house needs to be moved. We're not scared to tackle it. It's just that process of doing it.
Yeah.
You just have to decide what you want to do. And that's kind of initially everybody, because 85% of the people that looked at the property didn't want it because, first off, the house needs to be moved. Who wants to deal with that?
Yeah.
Which we're into having a little bit of a challenge on that. So we're all in it. The good thing was, like, when we bought the property, everybody was pretty forthcoming on what needed to be done and kind of what to expect. And there's like, we have 2 other cabins that are fairly close to the edge of the bank as well. They're not falling off or anything like that. Neither is the house. But those will eventually be relocated as well. And you get into septic lines, digging septic lines up and rerunning all kinds of pipes and things like that. And thankfully, a lot of that stuff, if I don't know about it, my partner, that's what he does.
Yeah.
So that's like, if you look at a project like that, the big money is into doing what needs done. And that costs like crazy, especially around here. I mean, you get a lot more per hour around here to do that stuff, which
Yeah, definitely. So is that moving houses, is that like a specialty up here? Like, how common is this down on Kasilof? Like, what's the market like there?
Yeah, it's actually, it is down there. There's people that's all they do for a living, just move houses. You'll drive along the road that runs along the Kasilof shore there, not the shore. I guess it'd be the
bluff
inlet.
Yeah. Okay.
Cook
Gotcha.
Inlet.
Yeah.
Down in Kenai area. You follow that, you'll see houses for sale, or you'll see a basement with a missing that's just there that a house used to sit on and stuff like that. It happens. The state did a big project over there in Kenai that they worked on had the same issue, but the problem was there's a lot of houses that had high market values, and so it was worth it for them to come in and do a lot of work there. And I thought they did a great job at what they did, as far as like, of course they engineered it and stuff, but it makes sense what they did to like make so it quits eroding or slows it down rather.
Yeah. So. Well, I'm glad to hear they're at least throwing that bone out there, because other places on like the Kenai River, like if the river's just eroding the soil, like you're not allowed to do
Stop
anything.
it?
Yeah, you're not allowed to stop it. They're like, oh, no, it's just going to get eroded.
Keep going.
If it starts eroding too much of your land, we'll give you a bit of a tax discount because you don't have a full acre anymore. But it's like, great.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, it's like the original owner started with like 3 acres, and I know it's not 3 acres now. So, I mean, it's neat. They used to have like stairs going down to the beach and everything. But my buddy actually went and bought a long 70-foot rope, threw it over the edge of the bluff, and so he likes going down that way. So
that's awesome. Outstanding. Well, what would you say so far are kind of the pros and cons of living in Alaska?
Oh, man. I mean, the coffee's great here. You guys got good coffee. That was like the first when we came for the trip the first time. I think the first day I had 5 cups of coffee, and I just couldn't get over it. I had to try like all these cool little coffee shops that you guys have out in the middle of nowhere, or middle of town, or whatever. And I had to try like every one I saw after a while. It's like, oh, there's a coffee shop. Let's stop. And I thought it was really cool. You see a lot of these younger people running it too. And it's a great gig, I feel like. And yesterday we actually stopped at one in Seward. And I asked the guy, like, how much do you sell a day? Which is kind of none of your business question, but it was interesting nonetheless. And he told me since he started, he thinks he sold around 300,000 cups of coffee.
Jeez.
So that was kind of interesting.
So it's like almost half of the state.
Yeah. So that's like one thing I love about Alaska. Is that random? Absolutely. But there you have it. What I don't like, man, I'm sure there's stuff I don't like. What it is, as of right now, I can't really come up with anything. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Well, that's definitely a good problem to have, but we'll circle back to that in a couple of years. I'm sure you'll have a couple of things.
I know I will, actually. That's usually how it goes after being somewhere for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's see. You mentioned before you're thinking about starting YouTube channel and everything. Like, what's the deal on that? Yeah.
So when the house moving process starts and stuff, I want to record that on video and do some YouTubing and stuff. There's probably going to be some other things mixed into that as well, just general life Alaska stuff. I got inspired by other people, and it's not really, I can't say that, you do your life, it's not, it's just life for you, but it's pretty interesting to see some of these other people's lives, even though it's nothing much. But I feel like it'd be interesting for a lot of people to see what's happening and just follow along. And yeah, I'm sure there's going to be people that have their opinions and things like that, but that's everyday life. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you ever seen the comment section of any contractors how-to video, like, my God, you people are ruthless with each other.
Yeah, and sometimes it's necessary too.
In all fairness, yeah.
Yep.
Outstanding. Well, Tim, thank you very much for coming on here and kind of sharing your story and what it's been like living up here so far. And glad to have you more or less right down the road. So I'll let you know when I'm in your neck of the woods and vice versa.
It sounds good.
Yeah, and everyone else, thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next time.